Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead Dead City video. So in this one here, I want to talk about the latest teasers that have come out for Dead City. There's actually two of them out there, and yeah, a lot of it new footage. There's some shots actually that are very, very exciting just because Maggie and Negan are obviously, it looks like they're seeing each other in the scene here, and so I think that this is pretty much, I feel like, going to be the ending of maybe episode 1 or maybe episode 2. We'll have to wait and see, I guess, but it depends on what they want to do with the story, but we'll actually talk about that once we get there. So before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this, and also definitely go and join the Discord. I will be there doing a Q&A video later this week. It'll be out on Wednesday, so I'll ask for some questions probably today or something at some point, and then yeah, there's a few days there to post some questions, and yeah, the Walking Dead Dead City is going to be out in like what? I think it's like 50 something days now, so I always say when it's the 50-day mark, like it goes by very, very fast. I do think that this week coming up, we're probably going to get the trailer because around then it's going to be like 40 something days away. It is the first day of spring coming up later this week. I think it makes some sense that we could get the actual like official trailer for Dead City Season 2 at some point later this week. I think it's going to be out this month for sure, because if it's not out this week, you're going into the week after, which is the very last week of March. And if it's not out that week, the next week is April already, right? And literally that Friday is April 4th, which is exactly 1 month before the show premieres. The Walking Dead has never released a trailer like a month beforehand, right? In terms of like the official trailer, like it's always been like, again, like 40 days or something like that. It's been like a week and a half more than that. So that's kind of why I'm expecting like, it makes sense. Like first day of spring, like later this week, I think it's going to be out. But yeah, obviously get excited because the trailer is definitely going to be coming out very, very soon. But to focus on the very first trailer here, this first one here, we actually do see this shot here that we've seen before in the previous opening minutes of Dead City Season 2, in which we do see the zombie here. I mean, there's nothing new about this shot, but if you notice, the logo actually looks different for The Walking Dead Dead City. And that right there is really interesting to me because The Walking Dead Dead City's logo has been, I mean, obviously it looks very different than this. Like Dead City is much bigger in terms of the font. It still is much bigger here for sure. I will say I really do like this though. Like it looks very clean. It looks very modern. And I don't know if this is actually going to be the new logo or if this was just sort of the logo for the trailer, but it looks really great. Like this honestly looks absolutely incredible. We go to this next shot here of Maggie and yeah, first of all, you still see the logo here. And like, I don't know what it is about the logo. It's something that like, in terms of just the look of it overall, like it just looks really awesome. Like that's sort of the best way I can describe it. Like seeing that, say if you're on Prime or AMC Plus or whatever, or on Netflix, and you saw that that was the logo for the show, like it just looks really like you're going to notice it. It pops right out immediately. I like the look for the show. I really do. But yeah, we do see this new shot here of Maggie, and I mean, this is probably when she is in New York City. I'm still wondering what's happening to the bricks, because based off of that recent teaser that came out, it seems like the bricks could be gone potentially in the first episode, or something could happen to it. Like, I think that, you know, that's totally fine if it does happen, because it's very possible that maybe they're just like, you know what, we want to take the story in a different direction. We want Maggie to be in a different place entirely, so we're just going to get rid of that community kind of thing. If that is the case, that's totally fine, because again, I think season 1 of both shows, like even The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, I think was a lot of just like figuring out, you know, where the story is going to go, what should we do with the characters, this and that. And I think after they got the first seasons out for those shows, they're like, okay, now we know where we want the characters to be. We sort of know where to go with everything. And so I think that, I mean, if that ends up being the case, like, I think it's totally fine, because honestly, we never learned a lot about the bricks before anyways. And it just means that we're going to see another new community at some point, probably within New York City, right? I think that's probably where the story is going to be going here. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see, I guess, where this goes here, but really incredible shot here. I mean, I don't know what she's looking at here. If it's Herschel, if it's Pearlie Armstrong, I know that she is with a group of people here going into New York City. We then get this shot here of the Croat, and I believe that's the Dama in the back. It's kind of hard to tell, but we do also see Negan here, and the Croat is saying to him, like, we can bring the city back. And so I guess that is sort of what their goal is here, is that they want to bring New York City back. And the way the Croat is talking to Negan specifically is, you know, he wants him to be really the leader in all of this here. I guess that is one of the things too, though, is like maybe it's different because, you know, during the Savior War, the reason why like he failed was because he never had anyone that was sort of like more equal to him, right? Like Negan was, you know, like he was the one there. And so I think that obviously when people are like betraying him, this and that, you have Dwight doing this and whatever, like, you know, there's going to be some issues there. So I think if there's somebody like, you know, the Croat who is a little bit more equal to him here in this situation, or, you know, the Dama, and then there's also Bruegel. I don't know how Bruegel fits into all of this here because it seems like everything is very peaceful with him at first, but he is going to be more of a villain. So obviously things are going to go really bad. But I'm really curious as to where this is going to go this season, because if they're trying to bring back New York City, I mean, obviously everyone wants to do that. I'm sure Bruegel wants to do that, but maybe it's more of a power thing in terms of who wants what. And I guess that's where things could get really interesting. And like also, how does Maggie fit into all of that there? And again, that's why I'm really excited about the trailer, because in terms of the specifics of all of that, like that's what we're going to learn here. But yeah, really interesting shot here. We then get to this shot here of Negan holding Lucille, and this shot is actually, it's somewhat kind of new. I mean, it's from the same shot that we saw before, but it's just like a few seconds beforehand, I'm pretty sure, because he's not smiling or anything yet. So it looks like it's when he first has Lucille, you know, he's a little bit concerned, or I mean, maybe he's wondering like, you know, like what should I do, or should I just do this kind of thing? And then eventually he just becomes, you know, who he used to be. And obviously it's going to be a really incredible scene, I imagine. I really cannot wait to see this scene. I'm expecting at the end of episode 1. That's when I think this is going to happen here. I think when Negan gets Lucille and he becomes his old self, it's going to be the cliffhanger for episode 1. But there could be something else that is also connected to it at the very end. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a second here. We then get this shot here of Negan killing zombies here. And I mean, really cool. Obviously, this is probably from like episode 2 or something like that, just because he already has Lucille. And I think that episode 1 is going to really build up that moment to like the very ending of the episode, him getting Lucille back, right? So I think at this point, when he already has Lucille, this is going to be episode 2. He's just going to be out there killing zombies and just like doing whatever. And then we get to this shot here, which is going to be really interesting in terms of where episode 1 could go. And again, I really like the fact that we actually got this here, because this is something that, like, I don't want to say it's spoilery, but it almost seems like it could be very spoilery, right? Just because I don't know if this is like giving away too much here, but we do see Maggie outside of this church here. And we know that Maggie obviously is going to be going back to New York City. We've seen a lot of shots of just like her journey going back, you know, maybe something happens to the bricks, etc. Well, at this point here, she's actually outside of this church. And if you look to the right, you actually see these doors open here. And when you go to the next shot, you actually see Negan walking out of here. And that's really interesting. I mean, just based off of his look here too, like he's looking like, okay, I just found Maggie. Maybe he's really concerned about her. Like, oh no, like she should not be here. But this definitely is him reacting to the fact that Maggie is there. And I mean, this is really cool just in terms of like, again, that's sort of what I'm wondering about in terms of the story overall and like what's happening with all the characters involved here. Because like the shot of Radio City Music Hall turning on, like obviously we know that's going to happen in the very beginning of the episode, but I just feel like what we saw there is going to be something that happens also at the very end of the episode as well, because maybe that was more of a flash forward. I mean, there was nothing shown in that scene that would be like something that we should see later on, right? It was just more of the process of how they're powering on, I guess, Radio City Music Hall, right? So for that to be the ending of the episode as well, I could see how maybe it's all related, because maybe there's just like some sort of sound happening, because obviously power is turning on in the city, so they're all hearing something. And so Maggie is out here, and then obviously Maggie is reacting to this like, whoa, what is this kind of thing, right? Like she's hearing something going on. And then Negan and I guess whatever this group is going to be called here, maybe they hear something as well, so they all go outside, because maybe it's really unrelated to the fact that Maggie is there. But then he sees Maggie and he's just like, uh-oh, like what's going to happen now kind of thing, right? And then we do see the shot here of Maggie as well looking back. And so, you know, at this point, like Maggie just looks like absolutely just really upset. Like she is angry, right? So yeah, it's going to be a really awesome like stare down here. And then, you know, there's that shot of Bruegel as well. That's very similar here. So I don't know if he's also in the scene as well, or if he's in a different location. And maybe he notices that Radio City Music Hall has power now, right? So I wonder if it's all going to be just that, like this really epic thing where, you know, we're going to learn a lot more of the story in terms of what Maggie and her group are doing, what Negan, the Croat, and the Dama are doing. And it's going to build up to this moment here at the very end of episode 1. And yeah, I mean, obviously Maggie's going to be very concerned for Negan to be sort of, I guess, the leader of all of this here, to be in a really crazy position. And yeah, I wonder if Maggie's going to have a lot of issues with it. So we'll have to wait and see where this goes here. But I just thought this was a really incredible reveal here in this teaser. Honestly, like this scene here just got me really, really excited for the show. But I'm gonna leave it here though. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Like what are your predictions for the very first episode here? And also, when do you think we're gonna get the trailer? Like, it does seem like in terms of, the promotion for the show, they are starting with a lot of this here, right? Like, I think that it's been quiet for a long time, but things are starting to pick up quite a bit. And I still think that in terms of where things are gonna feel like, all right, we're finally here in the promotion for the show, is when we actually get the artwork for the show, because I'm sort of just waiting for that. Like, I think that's something that, like, I can't believe we're still waiting for that. Like, the second that we have the artwork for the show, the second that we have, I guess, I don't even know if we get character portraits really anymore. I mean, I think we did for Daryl Dixon season 2, but like basically once we're at that point there, it's going to feel like, all right, The Walking Dead is back, even though it does feel like it's slowly returning here. A lot of these teasers here that are being released by AMC, it's just really exciting. This show looks absolutely incredible. There hasn't been anything about this show that has been like concerning, because the one thing about Daryl Dixon season 2 that I will say going into the season in terms of all the promotion and everything was that there was a lot of concern about some characters not really getting a lot of the spotlight, right? Like Isabel. A lot of people were concerned about Isabel because she wasn't in the trailer that much, and some of the focus on Carol and in terms of her getting to France and all of that, like there was already people, complaining about that because it really seemed like we already knew how she was going to get to France. And so just a lot of things like that, I think just in general, I think really hurt that show going into that second season. Season 3 looks really great. I'm just going to say that. I don't think that show is like horrible or anything like that. I just think that season had so much going wrong for it that I think, Dead City season 2, it just looks really great right now, honestly. And I think that, people are going to get way more excited the more that we see, like teasers and trailers and all that from the show. And once the show's actually out, I think people watching it are going to be like, wow, this is absolutely incredible, because they're going to be in New York City pretty much the whole time, I imagine. And also, it's 8 episodes. We don't have to worry about just the 6-episode thing, because like 6 episodes for the other shows, like it really does hurt the show. It being 8 episodes, like this is going to feel like classic Walking Dead. Like The Walking Dead is back for 2 months kind of thing. And just like obviously a really amazing classic Walking Dead story, right? So yeah, I'm excited here. I can't wait to see more from this, but definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.